Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the railway. And I've been thinking it's been a really long time since I've actually just reviewed a Hornby Railways locomotive, so that's what I thought I'd do today. And it's Bucklaw, which is an LNER A3 locomotive of course, and it really is a beautiful model. So yeah, let's get on with it. So yeah, as you can see, here's the box, and I just thought, I haven't actually got a super detailed A3. I've got the Doncaster, which is a railroad one, and I've got a couple of Triang Flying Scotsman engines, but I hadn't actually got a super detailed A3, so I thought I would get this one. And I found this one on eBay for about £80, I think it was, so that's really pretty good for a brand new locomotive. Let's have a quick look at the box then. Of course you can see the engine on the front there, unless you've got a problem with your sight. But yeah, there's the engine. And on the end of the box there is R3132, which is presumably the product code, and also LNER 462 Class A3 Bucklaw. And yeah, the running number, as you can see there, is 2599, and that wasn't written on the end of the box there, which it normally is, which is a bit strange. Alright, let's turn this one over then. Oops, started unboxing it there. Yep, on the back you can see the class is also 7P or 6F, so that was presumably the BR classification system or something like that, but I never realised that, so that's quite interesting. And there's also some info just there on the back, so do feel free to pause that if you'd like to. And there's also a nice photograph there in black and white of one of the engines at work, and that's always a nice thing to see, a nice thing to include there. Okay, so let's get this one back the right way around and let's start getting this one unboxed then. So let me just slide this out. And you can just about see the engine there, although it's a little bit glary, isn't it, with all the lights and such. So I'll just get that out and we'll start getting this stuff unboxed. Alright, so first of all then, I guess we'll just have a quick look at the paperwork. This is the A1/A3 operating and maintenance instructions, and it is pretty much the usual stuff, fitting the brake rods and where to oil and fitting decoders and whatnot. So that's all fairly standard issue stuff, isn't it? But still quite useful if you need it. Okay, so let's take this out then of its sleeve, and we'll have a look at the various bits of detail first. So the first thing is this. Now this is a bit of a confusion because I don't, oh come on, let me get it. I don't know what it is. Hang on. Now it looks like a reversing rod, but the loco already has a plastic one fitted onto it, so I'm not too sure what the purpose of this thing is. But it isn't on the image. I can't see on the picture where it's included. So I don't know whether it's just come off in the box, I wouldn't be surprised, or whether it's just something that you can fit separately if you want to. But no, I've got that for some reason, and it is loose in the box, so yeah, whatever it is. And also there's a little detail pack which has a flanged wheel, and I presume you can just change that with the non-flanged wheel, which is already fitted, if you've got very large sweeping curves on your layout. But because my layout is mostly third radius, and there's a little bit of second on there as well, I thought I would just keep the non-flanged wheel. And in there also there's some little bits of gold pipe work, if you can see them there, which I won't fit because I don't trust myself with them. But of course the choice is yours if you would like to fit them. So yeah, that's all pretty good. Let's get this one out of its packaging then. So unclip it at the back. Lift it up. There is a bit of plastic here, but it isn't the fun stuff, so yeah, throw it to one side. Alright, so as you might expect, the loco and tender are permanently coupled together, so I'm going to have to try and lift them out together if I can. So yeah, let's give it a try. Oh, I don't like this bit. Okay, hang on, let me get a good hold of it. There we are. Wow, it's a gorgeous loco, and at first thoughts I can say it's pretty weighty. It's got some decent weight to it, not so much in the tender, but certainly the loco itself, and it appears to be extremely nicely detailed. So what I'll do is I'll take it up onto the background for you, and hopefully you'll be able to have a little bit of a closer look at her on there. But first of all, here's a little bit of information about the Class A3. So they were introduced in 1922 to the design of Sir Nigel Gresley, and they were actually the first British Pacifics, which is pretty interesting. And Pacifics of course just meaning 462 locomotives. They started life as the Class A1s, but were improved with various alterations, including changes to the Walschaerts valve gear, boilers capable of higher pressures, and also smaller cylinders, and all these changes led to them being reclassified as the A3, which is what this is. And I think most of them were rebuilt into A3s. In 1935, number 2750 Papyrus broke the world record for the fastest unstreamed locomotive at 108 miles an hour, and I think that record still stands. Of course the A4s have broken the record for steam generally, But no, apparently unstreamlined. The A3s win the award there. In total, 79 engines were produced over 13 years, but sadly only one survives, and as you can probably guess, that one is the Flying Scotsman. But yeah, that's a little bit of info then. Let's get on with the review, and I'll show you her up close. And there she is then, up against the white background, and what a beautiful looking thing this is. I know I've had a bit of a moan about Hornby recently, and some of their models have been very sloppy, but this one certainly seems to be really nicely put together, and it's really quite pristine. So let's start having a close look at it then. First of all, the livery, which does extend onto the wheels, by the way, which is a really nice touch. It's in this gorgeous LNER green, of course, with the white stripes, and the white stripes are absolutely fantastic. I always really love those. There is a slight complaint here that on the top you see here on the top there's a little join where the plastic moulding is like a seam, isn't it? And the lines don't always match up with each other, which is a little bit dodgy because of course with them being models you do sort of look down on them, and that's one of the things that's quite easy to spot. But the lining really is really nicely applied, as you can see, and it is on the wheels too, as I was saying, so you can see the little LNER white stripe around each driving wheel there, and even the bogie wheels, which is absolutely fantastic. There is a lot of painted detail on this thing. If we look at the side of the cab for a start, you can see it's all got the white lining on it, and this window here, which is actually glazed, also has a little bit of red lining around it, and the side of the cab of course has the running number printed onto it, which is really nicely done. 2599, as I said earlier, that's the running number, and yep, the whole thing is beautifully painted, it really is, and the colours look just right. And if we take a look around the smoke box area, there is a little badge on there. I'm not even going to try to read it, but I'm sure it's legible. And there's also these little gold painted things. I'm not sure what they are, so that's pretty ignorant of me. But yeah, we've got that. And along the frame of the locomotive, there's also this lovely red lining, which actually extends to the back truck, which is really nice to see, actually. It really does look great. And the whole thing's also got quite a lot of moulded and separately fitted detail. Of course you've got the handrail, which goes all along the side of the boiler there, but that's quite standard, isn't it? But you've also got these little safety valves and a whistle there, I think that will be, which are also quite nice looking. And up on the top there you've got the air intakes for the crew of the engine so they don't get too warm, and they are actually opening and closing here. As you can see there, you can open them. So that's quite a nice little touch. If you like that sort of thing, that's really nice. If we take a look around the front of the smoke box is painted as well as the dart, so you've got the silver paint there, and the front buffer beam is really nicely detailed there with the running number on it, as you can see. And it's also got a chain link coupling as well as a vacuum pipe, which is great, and of course the buffers, which are very realistic looking, are also sprung. There you are. And around the front of the plate there you've also got lamp irons, as you'd probably expect, and that's really quite a nice touch. If we take a quick look at the linkage rods and all that sort of stuff then, it's all really fine, all the rods are very slim, but it does look absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure you'll agree once you've seen it running that it really is a sight to see. Let's have a quick look inside the cab then, because the cab is superbly detailed. All the gauges have little sort of hands on them, and it really is a really fantastic cab, even though you can't really see into it all that well. I'm trying to get a good shot of it there, but yeah, it really is a wonderful cab, fantastically done. So the loco is absolutely brilliant. I can't really go into all the detail that's on there, but hopefully you can get a flavour of just how much there is there. It really is fantastic. So let's move on to the tender very quickly then. As you can see, it's got basically the same colour scheme with the LNER green and its white stripes, which surrounds the LNER text there on the side of the tender, and as you'd expect, it is really quite nicely applied there as well. And that red lining also goes along the undercarriage too, which is really nice. I really love that. It just looks so smart, doesn't it? If we take a quick look into the coal bunker, as you can see, the coal is really quite fine, which is what we like. It does look very realistic, but I believe, according to the instructions, that it is removable and you can put your own coal into there if you'd like to. So it's always nice to have the option. If we take a look around the back there, you can see there's all sorts of different moulded and separately fitted parts. You've got handrails and a few footholds, I suppose they might be, to climb up the back of the tender. And of course you've got the standard vacuum pipe again, as well as more sprung buffers. So there it is, that's the logo, absolutely gorgeous. It truly is super detailed, you know, it's got everything, the glazed windows, sprung buffers, really nice paintwork, and the build quality seems to be pretty good. Assuming that metal piece wasn't supposed to be attached, because if it was and it's broken off, then that is a bit disappointing. But generally it really is a gorgeous locomotive. which has an awful lot of detail. So yeah, a really great buy this one was, and I'm really pleased with it. So yeah, that should just about do it. Let me go and get her onto the layout, and we'll see how she runs, shall we? Because that should be a treat with this loco. Alright, let's give it a try. Alright, so there's the gorgeous Hornby A3 running number 2599 down onto the tracks, and she really is looking absolutely superb there. She really is. What a fantastic loco. I'll get her running in just a second then, but first I'll show you what's on the line. First of all, she's about to be coupling up to my big rake. Well, it's not an awfully big rake, but it's a reasonable rake of 5 LNER teak coaches, so hopefully she'll look pretty cool with those. As I say, I'll get her coupled up to those in just a second, but first of all, on the other line, there is the another A3 locomotive. This one is the Doncaster, and this one is in a lot darker sort of LNER green compared with the sort of more apple green of Bucklaw. But she's got, well, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of my LNER Gresley coaches, which are in the blood and custard livery, and hopefully that will all look very nice running round. And finally, on the third line, I've got one of my favourite locomotives ever, and that's the classic Triang Flying Scotsman. Well, I think this one's probably Hornby, but it's Hornby / Triang Flying Scotsman with the quite old-fashioned teak coaches, the Triang style ones, but hopefully again you'll enjoy seeing her. But first of all then, let's do a little bit of a performance test with the Bucklaw. So I'm on DC, so just bear that in mind, but yeah, let's give her a little bit of juice and see how she works. There we are, a little bit of forwards motion. As you can see, it's really quite slow. That's about the slowest speed I can get her to do, yeah, before she just buzzes. But yeah, that really is very good, isn't it? Very smooth. It's not the smoothest I've got, but it's certainly not bad, is it? Let me take her back again. Now, I've noticed with this one, she's a lot louder in reverse, although that does seem smoother, doesn't it? Alright, a bit more speed then. Yeah, fantastic runner. It really is. I have had this one running, it's been run in, and you will have seen it in the Steamers in the Garden videos actually. She was in that. That was her first appearance on the channel, but yeah, there we go, a little bit more speed for you then. And now let me change direction and send her towards those coaches, and hopefully we'll get a nice successful coupling. Doesn't happen very often, but we live in hope. Let's give it a try then. There we are. I'll keep pushing them back so that she comes in shot for you. I think about there. There we have it then. There's the A3 coupled up to all of those coaches. And naturally, I'm hoping she'll pull them all without a problem. But I guess we'll find out. So here we go. Nice gentle start. I don't want any passengers falling out the seats today. I'm going to try and be very sensible with them. There we go. Alright, let's get the Doncaster up and running then. And this was actually the first tender locomotive I ever got my hands on. It was my first specific, and it was really what got me into this, really. So here we go then. She is on DC, so she's going to be, sorry, DCC. So you can see she's far smoother than Bucklaw. Not because of being on DCC, mind, just because she is a very smooth locomotive. But she's more of a railroad type thing. Alright, a bit more speed for her then. There we are, there's all those Gresley coaches. And last but not least then, let's get that Flying Scotsman up and running. Okay, a little bit of juice for her then. There we go. She's absolutely perfect, she is. Alright, let's have a running session then, shall we? And here comes Bucklaw then, the queen of my A3 locomotives. Fantastic runner, she really is good. And she looks the part as well. And I'm not scared to lift it out of the box, which is a great thing. And I've just missed the Doncaster from the Sheffield Pullman train set, I believe. But I never bought the train set, I just bought the loco on its own. Looks very good with those teaks. Well, they're not really teaks, are they? They're similar, but they're just in blood and custard. Yep, lots of A3s. That's the way I like it. Of course, having 3 tracks is now becoming very useful for things like this. and something is squeaking horribly on that Triang train. You might hear it when it comes past, but sometimes the squeaking is so high the camera doesn't actually pick it up. So I can get away with it, but I don't know, you guys will have to tell me if you can hear it or not. Yep, definitely some squeaking coming from one of these, and they're always the same. Okay, so here's my rating then for the beautiful Hornby A3 Book Law. First of all, detail 9 out of 10, it's well above average. It really is a fantastically detailed model. Performance 8 out of 10, it's much better than average in terms of performance. It's not the perfect slow runner, and it's also quite a little bit more noisy in reverse than it is in the forwards direction, but they're really very small complaints, because in general she's a fantastic runner. Character 10 out of 10, of course the A3 is an absolutely classic locomotive, so you really can't fault her character, and of course Hornby have captured that absolutely perfectly. The build quality is pretty high again, nothing has really broken off as far as I know, although as I said earlier that metal piece may or may not have broken off in the packaging, but generally it feels like quite a well built model. Value for me, as I said, I got this for £80, so for me that's a 10 out of 10 score. If you bought it from Hornby, I think it's considerably more and it wouldn't be quite so good value, but for me £80 is fantastic. Which leads us to overall 9 out of 10. A fantastic locomotive, quite a good bargain in my opinion, and a real classic addition to the layout. So, yep, I'll leave it running a bit longer then, shall I? Well, today's been a running session that I've really enjoyed because three very similar locos, of course they're all the same class, but they're all really different. So it's just been really interesting actually to see them all run together. But that's just about it. It's been a great running session though, with lots of different A3s, and that was the review of Book Law, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to leave a like or even a comment on the video, because I do love to hear from you, as you know. And also, if you'd like to, you can check out the Facebook or Twitter pages, and they're at facebook.com/samstrains or twitter.com/samstrains. It would be great to see you on there, but for now I'll say thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you very soon, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I'll see you next time, everybody.